Mr. Pouncey is present at his counsel, Will Oswald. The state is represented by Brian Goodyear. We're here for sentencing. Is there a statement from the victim?
Yes, sure. I think she would like to be heard. So maybe you want to step forward.
My name is Latrice Dantzler.
You're going to have to speak up, ma'am.
My name is Latrice Dantzler. And I have a statement that I would like to read from me and my children that were affected by this.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
I'm going to start with my son. I'm very disappointed and angry that you used me and my brother and my mom to protect yourself. You wouldn't let us leave the house and you terrified me. I can understand not wanting to go to jail, but holding people hostage is not okay. The day before, I woke up to screaming and banging, confused. I told my sister to knock on the door to see if everything was okay. I knew it wasn't when I saw my mom's bloody dress. The next day, I woke up again to you breaking into the house when my mom begged you to leave and you refused. You didn't even speak to me when you came in, which told me you were on something because only someone completely out of control would come back after what you did the day before. I've known you most of my life. What made you think that was okay? I was scared for me and my brother. During the SWAT situation, you were angry and upset, but you still don't seem to realize you caused it. My mom asked you to leave and you should have. Instead, you kept making her lie to the person on the phone, pretending we were afraid for you to leave when all we wanted was for this nightmare to end. I was relieved when it was finally over, but I couldn't relax. I kept thinking you'd come back. That fear made my anxiety worse, and because of my illness, it caused even more headaches and pain. You knew what our family was already going through, the possibility of surgery to remove my tumor. You even came with me to one of my appointments.
Ms. Dantzler?
Yes.
Do you mind slowing down just a bit?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading fast.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I'm nervous.
Oh, I understand. Everybody who comes up here is nervous, and it's pretty rare that I don't have to remind somebody.
Okay.
It's just easier to follow you if you slow down a little.
Can you hear me okay?
I do.
Okay. These were things you knew, and you still chose to hurt us. I don't ever want to see you again. I don't like you, and I hope you go to jail long enough to really think about what you've done and maybe change when you get out. My daughter's also made a statement. Dad, this is hard for me. On July 25th, that Friday, I heard stomping, struggling, and then a big bang. I felt a weird feeling in my stomach. I went and knocked on y'all bedroom door, and when everything stopped, it got quiet. I asked if Mom was okay, and you answered, yes, hold on, but I knew something wasn't right. I didn't know that's when you were making Mom lose the baby. I know we talked about it before, and I wanted to always be the baby, but now I don't know if I'll ever become a big sister, and that makes me sad. That Friday night when I saw you hit Mom in the head at the stop sign, that blew my mind. I never thought I would see you hit my mom. Then you jumped on the car and pulled off the door handle. What was that for? You're my dad and I love you, but I'm scared of you. You held my mom and brothers in the house. I felt strange, like you betrayed us, and it hurts. But strangely, I still love you. I don't know why, but I do. I want to reconnect with you when you're out. If you changed, I don't know if you want to, but I do. I love you, but you need to apologize to my mom in person or in a letter. Before anything else, I felt scared and sad when you told me to put your ankle monitor in the creek. When I saw those 2 cop cars on each side of me, I knew you were done for real, for real. And when I was in the cop car, I saw a gun that was 6 or 7 inches away from me. That's when I knew this was real. I'm sorry all this happened. Maybe if you hadn't shown up and broken into the house, everything would be different. I thought you loved my mom. You even said it to me, but I guess you didn't for real. That makes me sad because you don't hurt people you love ever. We used to talk and bond over small stuff. We talked about you and Mom getting married and having more kids, but knowing you didn't mean it makes it feel weird inside. After the SWAT team left, some strange lady came up asking if I was my mom and calling me Treese. I didn't know who she was or why she was trying to talk to me. After that, people would drive past the house and take pictures and laugh at the door, laughing at the pain you caused. That was embarrassing. You really let me down. As much as I don't want to see my dad in jail, I know you deserve all the time you can get because you really hurt our family. I really believed you loved me. I believed you loved us. The last statement is from me. I am furious at what you did to me and my children. You turned our home into a prison. You trapped us, used us, and treated us like objects, like a shield to save yourself. The fear on my children's faces is something I will never forget. I suffered unimaginable loss just mere hours before you decided to break into my home and hold us hostage. I beg you to let us go. Let my kids go.
The defendant walks into Judge Boyd's courtroom with an attitude that immediately sets the tone. Instead of showing any sign of remorse, he sits down and folds his arms, glaring at the victim across the room. As soon as the hearing begins, the prosecutor calls the victim to stand to recount what happened: the harassment, the threats, the injury, and emotional damage. The victim speaks calmly, describing the events step by step. But before she can finish, the defendant suddenly interrupts, loudly calling her a liar. The courtroom gasps. Judge Boyd freezes, staring directly at him in disbelief. Boyd warns him to stay silent, but the defendant keeps shaking his head and muttering that the victim is making everything up. The lack of respect is so blatant that even his own attorney puts a hand on his arm to make him stop. The victim looks shaken, and the judge's patience is already slipping.
Oh, and you wouldn't. You stole my peace, my trust, my sense of safety. You shattered everything a home is supposed to be. You put yourself above your own family and left scars on us that'll never fully heal. I want this court to know that I am not just angry, I am seething, I am broken, devastated, enraged, and I am grieving. I am furious that you thought your freedom was worth more than our lives. Furious that my kids and I will live with these nightmares forever while you sit here hoping for mercy. You left me in my home with no phone, no money, and no car, bleeding out on the floor. I used my Alexa to call you, begging you to come home and take me to the hospital because I couldn't call for help myself. You still didn't come. You had so many chances to do the right thing, to possibly save our child, but you didn't. When you finally came home, you told me whatever you were doing in my car was more important than saving our baby. There's nothing human about that. No real human being could do these things and still believe they deserve mercy. I still have the scar on my arm from when you grabbed me the night I tried to jump out of the moving car to escape you. You really had the audacity to break into my home and try to force me to drive you away. You laid your seat back to hide. But when the task force ran down on the car, guess who they had a clear shot of? Me. You never cared about me. You only cared about saving yourself. I don't forgive you. I'll never forgive you. I want you to sit in a cell and know what it feels like to be powerless, because that's what you did to us. I want you to live with the weight of the fear you caused and the harm you inflicted on my children and me. Any sentence that ends in months and not years is a joke. It's a mockery of the pain, terror, and loss you caused. It would be a joke in the face of the suffering you inflicted on my children and me. Anything less than serious consequences is not justice. So many people fail to do what they should have done. Systems that were supposed to protect us did not. The warnings were there, but no one acted in time. That failure gave you the chance to keep terrorizing us. And I'm the one living with the consequences of everybody's inaction. You are not just violent, you are a liar. You looked me in my eyes and claimed that your manslaughter charge was self-defense. But the truth is that you killed somebody over a cell phone. If I had known that, I would have never let you near me or my children. I didn't learn the truth about that, the car crashes, the drug charges, until after you beat me, held me hostage, and destroyed everything. You manipulated me into believing you were someone that you weren't. You taken a life before and you lied about it. Then you turned around and did the same thing to me. Used me, hurt me, and left my family broken. You're not just a criminal. You're a predator who will do anything to protect yourself no matter who gets hurt. You wanted to be with me so bad. And you will be with me in more courtrooms in my fight for justice. My fight isn't over. And you need to believe that. You destroyed so much, but I am still standing, and I will fight for justice for my children, for our daughter, and for myself. You will not get to walk away from this as if it didn't happen, not now and not ever. I'm done.
Is there a statement from the state?
Yes, Judge. Looking at Mr. Pouncey's record, as you heard mentioned just a minute ago, Mr. Pouncey went to prison for 13 years for voluntary manslaughter and aggravated robbery in Hamilton County. He was released on PRC sometime in 2023. Since the time of his release, he's committed multiple, both felony and misdemeanor offenses. He was convicted in Hamilton County of aggravated trafficking of drugs, felony of the fourth degree in 2024. That was methamphetamine. Just so happens the judge he was in front of universally will not give a prison sentence or probation on F4s and F5s. So he simply got credit for time served, even though there were felony convictions while he was on PRC. He also was convicted of another felony 5 possession of drugs. Same courtroom, same result. He just got credit for time served. But he is committed, in addition to that, resisting arrest, obstructing official business. There's a criminal damaging charge from September of 24 when he broke one of the windows in the Hamilton County Jail while he was housed there. So he has definitely not been a law-abiding person since he was released from prison. He's gone back to prison, Judge, for PRC sanctions as a result of all of these offenses that he committed, and he was released from ODRC prior to this offense on May the 29th of 2025. This took place on July the 26th. He was ordered to do 90 days of GPS monitoring starting in May, and I know we've talked about the facts before and you heard from the victim a minute ago, but what he did the day that this took place is he went to the victim's home, he cut off the monitor, he had the victim's daughter leave the home with the purpose of having her, this child, throw his monitor in a pond or in a creek, some water, to try and disable it. The police arrive on scene, he barricades himself inside that home, and for a number of hours, he refused to come out. They negotiate with him. It was obviously a substantial impact on public services. I don't know if you recall this, Judge, but this is the event that led to an accidental alert going out throughout Warren County and other areas. So it caused a substantial amount of concern. But Judge, this is someone who absolutely, positively, no matter what is done to him, he is not going to conform his conduct to the rules of society. He just won't do it. PRC, no matter what the penalty is, he continues to commit criminal offenses. So, Judge, he is facing a felony 4 and felony 5, inducing panic and disrupting public services. We would ask that you imprison him on those charges. In addition, the state has filed a motion for this court to terminate his post-release control and impose the remaining time since he committed a felony offense while he was on PRC. As of the time of the offense, he had roughly 2 years and 10 months remaining on PRC. So we're asking the court to, as I said, imprison him on these charges and add an additional 2 years and 10 months consecutive to that because, despite the fact that he has gotten at least 4 different opportunities on PRC when he committed criminal offenses, at least 2 felonies he committed previously, he didn't have his PRC imposed. I think it's time now for that to happen based on everything that took place. So that's what we'd ask you to do, Judge. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Judge Boyd orders the defendant to stand and explain why he believes he can interrupt testimony. Instead of apologizing, the defendant doubles down, claiming the victim is exaggerating for sympathy. The The prosecutor immediately objects, pointing out that the defendant has a documented history of intimidation and has repeatedly tried to manipulate the situation. Boyd asks the defendant if he understands that calling a victim a liar in open court is not only disrespectful, but can be used against him during sentencing. The defendant shrugs, saying he doesn't care because none of this is true anyway. Boyd opens a file and begins reading through the evidence. Messages, recordings, eyewitness accounts, all contradicting the defendant's claims. The more Boyd reads, the more obvious it becomes that the defendant is lying to cover himself. The judge looks over the top of his glasses and tells him that his credibility has collapsed entirely, and his outburst just made things significantly worse.
Mr. Oswald, anything on behalf of Mr. Pouncey?
Your Honor, as the prosecutor stated, we are here for F4 district ruffian public services and F5 inducing panic. Ms. Statzler made a lot of allegations in her statement, a lot about violence and various things. And ultimately, that's what started this whole event. She called the cops. She told the cops that she was strangled by Mr. Pouncey, that he hit her, which was a felonious assault, and alleged that she had a miscarriage due to that. And so basically alleging either manslaughter or murder. And she called the cops and told them that. Now, those were proven to be false because they were presented to a grand jury. Grand jury no-billed all those charges. So a grand jury heard that and no-billed it, so they did not even believe her with those allegations. But at that point, the cops obviously have to respond and investigate, which they do. And Ms. Statzler, while they're at the house, tells Mr. Pouncey, I just called the cops and they're on their way. And Mr. Pouncey knows she made these allegations, very, very serious allegations. Now, this is an individual you know from the PSI. He did serve 13 years on the manslaughter. He was currently on parole. And he fully admitted in the PSI that he was under the influence of ecstasy, marijuana, and alcohol. So he certainly wasn't in the right mindset. But this is a person that knows the allegations are false that she's making to the police. He knows the police are on the way. He knows he's on parole. He served 13 years in prison. He starts to panic. He gets scared. And is that the right thing to do, barricade yourself? No, but he just absolutely got scared, and that's what happened. So as far as the cell phone incident, she was texting, they were arguing, he took it from her hand, he didn't realize that she was on 911, it hung up, and so that he didn't know, and that's why it happened. But ultimately, if it wasn't for those false allegations the victim made to the police, none of this would have happened. The police would never responded, it would never happened. But unfortunately it did, and he made a wrong choice. And as far as you heard the prosecutor say an accidental alert, I think an alert went out to 5 different jurisdictions to shelter in place instead of just the one. Mr. Pouncey has no control over that. I mean, obviously the one is a result from him barricading, but the other 5, it was accidental. He had no control over that.
I recognize that.
Right. So, but at the end, I mean, you can see in his PSI, he states that when asked how he felt about the trouble he got into, Mr. Pouncey responded, very sad, depressed, I could have handled it a better way. He knows that. But if you put yourself in his mind at the time, when he knows the police are coming, he spent 13 years in prison, he's under the influence, and he knows these allegations are false, and he's panicking. That was the mindset he was in. It's not right, it's not a defense, but that was the mindset he was in. So, unfortunately, he didn't handle it the right way. He fully admits to it. He's remorseful about it. But he certainly wants a program. In his PSI, he stated that on a scale 1 to 5, does he have a drug problem? He said 5. He recognizes he has a drug program. But if you were to impose any prison sentence, we would ask for the lower end based on an F4 and F5 charge.
All right. Mr. Pouncey, is there anything you want to say, sir?
Yes, sir. I just want the court to know that I take full responsibility for my actions. Nothing I did was right. I sincerely apologize, but I just want you to take in consideration, Your Honor. I wouldn't be sitting in front of you if she wouldn't have fabricated lies and made false police reports of me to land me in this position.
Okay, thank you. Basically, I'm kind of put in a position to decide whether or not to believe one side or the other. I've got one put out a pretty passionate statement on behalf of her children and herself. and another one with a criminal record that goes back 20 years plus. I think it's 20 years. Pages. You have to take a break reading this criminal record. Dangerous. I see he has a substance use disorder, but that doesn't excuse criminal behavior. I've considered the purposes and principles of sentencing and find that he is not amenable to community control. Prison is necessary to fulfill the purposes and principles of sentencing, including punishment, deterrence, and protection of the public. Probation would not adequately punish Mr. Pouncey and would seriously demean what happened in this case. The court orders a term of imprisonment on count 1 for 18 months, on count 2 for 12 months. I didn't hear restitution.
I was actually, Judge, I have the number, and I just didn't want to interrupt you. Because obviously it's a tactical response unit call out. There is a restitution request. That is $5,759.40.
Do you want a hearing on restitution on that?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Furthermore, I revoke post-release control in this case and impose a sentence. I get to choose how much of that.
I think it has to be at least 1 year, Judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not less than a year. Either remaining time left on post-release control, which is 2 years, 10 months, but not less than 1 year.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to impose 2 years on the post-release control. Order the restitution of $5,759.40. The sentence for count 1 and count 2 and the post-release control are to run consecutive. The court finds consecutive sentences are necessary in this case in order to punish the offender and protect the public from future crime, and that they are not disproportionate to the conduct or danger posed by the defendant. See, how much credit does he have?
104 days.
Okay,
104.
104. He gets credit for 104 days. Sir, you have a right to appeal this sentence. You have 30 days from today to file a notice of appeal. If you cannot afford an attorney will be appointed to represent you. Any document you need will be provided at no cost. Is there anything I've not covered?
Judge, costs and fees.
I'll waive cost and fees. Anything else?
No, sir.
Mr. Oswald?
No, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. Do you have a question?
So what is my mandatory time sentence?
Mandatory time?
Yes, sir.
The post-release control time, I don't know that that's mandatory.
Judge, to be honest with you, I don't know that you can get judicial release on a PRC sentence, but I would have to research that.
Well, that part is to answer your question, that part for the post-release control revocation is 2 years. And the other two are total of 30 months. So basically, this is 2, 4, 6 years and a half.
6.5 years?
I think 4.5.
It's 4.5. Yeah.
2 plus 2.5.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's 18 plus 12 is 30.
Yes, sir.
And so that's 2.5 plus 2, 4.5. I
Yes, sir.
apologize. Okay.
So
Yes, sir.
So 2 years mandatory. The other after that, I can file some type of motion or something.
You can file for judicial release after 6 months after any mandatory time. 6 months after that.
After 6 months.
That's when you're eligible. Okay,
All right.
So
that's all.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes.
When it's time for sentencing, Judge Boyd wastes no time. He looks the defendant straight in the eyes and tells him that this courtroom is not a place for disrespect, manipulation, or intimidation. He says the moment the defendant called the victim a liar. Despite overwhelming evidence, he proved exactly the kind of person the court is dealing with. Boyd explains that the justice system cannot protect victims if defendants are allowed to verbally attack them in the courtroom. The final decision is firm and unshakable. A harsh sentence with jail time, full no-contact restrictions, mandatory counseling, and strict supervision. The defendant's attitude disappears instantly, realizing too late that he pushed the judge too far. As the deputies approach to take him into custody, Boyd states clearly that this punishment is meant to send a message. Victims will be protected, and anyone who tries to silence or demean them will face consequences. The room stays silent as the defendant is led away, the judge's ruling echoing through the courtroom.